Hello guys, how are you guys doing? As an introvert, it's super freaking me out. Like, at first I thought it's an informal, casual chat with some people, some crazy design people, but I didn't expect it. Like, wow, a full house. So I think you guys came here for this topic. So you want to become a UX designer in 2021. This is the reason you're here, but before that, let me just ask, does anyone here has the title designer, has designer in your job title? If you do, please raise your hand. Oh, quite a lot of people. Does someone has product in your job title? Cool. Yeah, not as much as designer, but still a lot. So one takeaway, one most important takeaway I want you guys to take. For example, if you just have something emergency to do, you need to leave right now. The only takeaway I want to bring to you is you are already a product designer, no matter what you are doing. So after this session, you need to have this mindset, like I'm already a product designer. But what the product? You are the product. The product is you. And our process is to help us to design a process to sell ourselves to the customer. But who the customer is? Customer is the hiring managers and recruiters. So they are your customer. You might need to create a persona for them and design the approaches to sell yourself as a product to those people. So this could be the one takeaway. If you leave right now, like fire or something happened, and this is the only takeaway. It's just like a 007 movie. You put the best thing at the beginning. Actually, there are something even better later, right? So yeah, a little bit about myself. Like this is my partially roadmap of my life. Yeah, I'm Bear, a Chinese with a funny English name, and I'm a designer with a scientific background, educational background. That sounds exciting, but actually that just means that I'm a self-taught designer. So I haven't go to uni to learn design. 2005 or like more later, I found my major subject in university, physics. This is definitely not something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And just to explore anything I'm interested, and I found graphic design is quite interesting. So I started to do some graphic design, do some practice, and then learning some courses and get a job as a graphic designer, and slowly from graphic designer to digital designer, multimedia designer, like I think same as any designers in the industry. So starting from traditional and then go to digital. And fast forward a few years later, I and my wife decided we want to live in this beautiful country, so we moved to New Zealand 2016. And because of that, everything need to start from scratch again. I need to find a job. So you don't have too much choice for your first job in a new country, speaking a different language without work experience, right? So at that time, I became a marketing designer in a Kiwi company. It's quite good. I enjoy it, and people are really nice. Um, and then my daughter to the world, and then that's at the same year. But the more I do marketing, because my title was marketing designer, and because of the restructure and something shit like that, and I became a marketing specialist in the same company, but uh, more like a lot of things like spreadsheet and campaigns, something I'm okay to do that, but I'm not 100% interested of doing that. And so at this year, 2019, January, I decided to move. Before that, like a few months before, I started to do some self-learning about what could be the direction I want to go and find UX. This is something quite interesting. Later, I'll ask you a related question about this. So about why you feel, why you came here and why you want to become a UX designer. But that's for me, I found, yeah, UX, that's the right direction I want to go. And then I just jump into the uncertainty for a few months. And then I'm quite lucky to get a job at Les Mills as a UX and UI designer. And then this guy came, COVID. So, for the fitness company, it was hugely impacted. So I was laid off when I happily worked as a UX designer for a while. And then I found, yeah, might need to do something to get a better position. I mean, not in the local market, but maybe a better position for my future and career. So long story short, I designed an approach and to become a design mentor at Springboard and Career Foundry. So this is two tech boot camps, one based in Germany, Berlin, the other based in California. So I'm doing like remote mentoring other students from US and Canada about their design projects. And then also, yeah, definitely need to find some job in local, right? So I became a senior UX designer at Vodafone. So yeah, and when I saw Zero is hiring, because it's always on my list. I always want to work at a tech company, maybe the top tech companies of New Zealand. And when I saw the role was open, I just applied. And after a few rounds of interviews, I got a job and start from zero again, like as a product designer. So basically, this is a short description uh, of my career direction, and you can see a lot of chaos happens. But now I want to ask, what about you? So um, probably before that, let me ask why you are here. Maybe the question is why you want to become a UX designer or why you find this topic is interesting. Does anyone want to jump in to give us some comments? Like what brings you here? Sushi? Yeah.
Because you can always improve a product.
Because there are always ways to improve a product, and I want to improve them for the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the reason why I'm here.
That's so great. So you're brilliant. So you want to improve the experience for customers. Which industry are you working on?
Marketing.
Marketing. Marketings are great. So, yeah. Anyone want to share something about what? Yeah, please. Just quickly pass it.
Yeah, when I saw this one, this event first, I was like really wanting to know the story because I'm a graphic designer and I'm trying to
Right place.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really fascinating.
Cool.
Until now.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm interested in design because to me, it's about taking a considered approach to creating things, and the UX part interests me because taking a human-centered approach to that intention seems like a really good place
Right.
to start.
Well, you guys did a great job. I thought maybe I'm not the right guy to stand here and to share. Maybe supposed to be you guys. This is your stage, right? So that's great. Yeah, like what I said before that, January. This is my last day at my marketing job. My wife took this photo with this like, oh, it's the last day, and I just carry this box, like as TV shows, someone miserably carries some boxes and with all the stuff. And my wife said, yeah, I should take a photo, and I just smile and take a smile. So it begins. Um, I want to share a few stories. Like at the beginning, everything worked fine. Like first few weeks, I thought I'm prepared, and it's okay because my previous role, like the contract ends. That's all right, and I can apply the jobs. I already did some research and sent out some applications, but then nothing happened, and then it became the overthinking and self-doubting mode. So I'm starting to doubt myself. Is this the right decision? So I feel so great guilty that my partner, she's supporting the family, not me. And wow, why there's no feedback, no replies? Is it the right decision? Am I good enough to do this? So maybe it's the wrong decision. Oh, what I'm doing. So at that time, it, this question and self-doubting thoughts became, and it's just something you cannot control. Like a few weeks, that's all good. 1 month, seems it's became a little bit panic, and 2 months without doing anything, and things starting to become a little bit crazy. And one morning, I saw a postman um, around my neighborhood, and yeah, maybe I just got a job as a postman. Maybe I got this type of job, and yeah, it can provide some stable salary, and then I might spend some time in the evening to learn something, and I still can become a UX designer. And the next day, a few days later, I was standing in the work and income office to apply the subsidy for unemployment. And then a lady told me, yeah, fill this form, and you need to go over a course, like a type of the training to how to get a job, and then after that you can apply this subsidy. And I remember I was standing in front of the office and say, what the fuck I'm doing here? Why I'm here? I want to become a UX designer. That's definitely for sure, and I'm quite enjoying it. Why I'm just wandering around and not confident? Why it's happened? So I'm starting to just try to focus, try to refocus, try to recalibrate, and then I find, yeah, why bother? I'm a designer. I can design an approach, and I can find out available resource I have, available connection, all the things, and I believe there is something that I can use in the past. It's not that I'm not qualified to become a designer just because I don't have experience work here. So, and also, as a typical Asian, we save some money, so at least can support us for 5 to 6 months without doing anything. So I think that's quite a build your confidence. And then I said, yeah, let's forget about all the panicking and subsidy. Let's leave it for some people uh, maybe need it more. So I'm just to prove it like in this 4 or 5 months what I can do. And then I find I need to answer this question like why UX? Because in the beginning, marketing is something I'm good at. I'm also doing that for living. So I think yeah, it could be the safer direction to go. But UX, this is something I have passion, and I really enjoy doing it. But what's the benefit? And I guess the same question I can ask you again, but I just save some time. So, like, what's your reason of becoming a UX designer? So here, from a few perspectives. First is the salary. Let's talk money. Money first, right? So, UX designers' salary is quite competitive in general. So it's the top 25 salaries of any job in US, And I don't have the data here in New Zealand market, but still, we can guess it's quite competitive. Um, and also, like this is the research I did yesterday or the day before yesterday, like how many UX designer on LinkedIn with UX in their job title. There are 11,000 people here in New Zealand with the title UX title in their titles. And in US, there are, yeah, you can see the number is much bigger, which means that we have more space. We probably have more space here. And, and also, um, it's still the highest paying job, tech job, where a graduate degree is not required. You can definitely do that as a self-taught designer. A lot of people already did that, and I did that. And my manager who did it. So just as a self-taught designer, so this is something we can do. And more online businesses. This is definitely the trend after COVID, right? So the business from offline to online, which means that need more UX design for the online experience. And this is the average salary in US. It's 80K US dollars per year, which is quite good. I mean, it's for junior to intermediate designer, UX designer, but for senior, and if you're a manager, definitely that's another level. And I don't want to share New Zealand's salary because it may feels quite frustrated. Yeah. So let's keep moving. Yeah. And one of the things is that I think UX is quite similar as programmers. UX design is quite similar as programmers because we got a good pay, and it's also, you don't need to get a graduate degree for doing that. But one thing I feel really is the advantage of a product design, UX designer, is that you can build your timeless skill set and knowledge, and which is transferable to other fields. For example, if you're a programmer, it's good, it's get a lot of pay, but maybe after 10 years, the the language you're using probably not the best fit for the local business, and you might need to learn a new language, which is probably not easy for someone already working in the same industry for 20 years. But for UX designers, because it's focused on people and people's interaction, kind of the same like since ancient, right? So it's like 2,000 years ago, people see each other, also greeting to each other, and it doesn't change much. So I think this is the skill set and knowledge you build while you're doing UX is quite good. So maybe you have other reasons like why you want to become a UX designer, but I think this could be the starting point that you can also start to think why you want to become a UX designer or why you are here to join us. And this is the struggle I have. Is there any like similar struggle you might have at the same time? I didn't have a local experience, work experience. Um, and I don't have a step-by-step guidance. Nobody taught me like how to do that, which is quite great. Like currently we have UX Auckland, we have this community that you can ask people for questions. And I don't know people at that time. And I think it's just, I'm just moved to this new country without knowing anyone. And my English is quite poor, was quite poor at that time. So speaking, not a native speaker, without a local experience, and don't have the knowledge of what UX is all about. I successfully get some interviews like before I left my first job, and some people like during the interviews I got some questions which I don't know what the hell they're asking. I just remember like a designer asked me like what the design system you are using, and I just blank, and what is a design system? What's that? I don't know. I just literally told her I don't know, and after that, it feels so frustrated after that, and it's starting to self-doubt, right? And I don't have the skill set of getting things done. I don't know what people are doing in their job, and I don't have any stories to share. I don't have anything to share. I just say, yeah, I want to become a UX designer, but what? How could you do that? What's your proof? Like, what's your evidence to prove that you can get the job done? I didn't have anything at that time, and I didn't even sure that if I could go all in to UX. So yeah, that was those are all my struggles. Is there any similar struggles that you might have? Cool, you have. Right. Would you like to share or something?
I think I'm in the same situation with you.
Right. Okay.
English
That's,
is not my language, and I don't have that experience.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely, you are not alone. So a lot of people have the similar.
What did she say? I didn't hear her.
Uh, yeah.
I'm in the same situation like you.
Yeah, same situation like she doesn't a native language speaker and don't have experience right now about doing UX. Yeah. So this is the struggle I have and how we can tackle it. This is something like with high level, know yourself, where you are, clean your backpack, know the game, find the team. But let me get to something details. So that's the starting point of this slide. But later, I find this question is quite interesting because I asked a question on LinkedIn on this Monday or Tuesday. I'm preparing this speak and want to hear your thoughts about the career question. You find a job, a dream job is open, and you match three requirements of the six. So would you go for it, or you want to improve to get yourself ready to apply the job? So I want to ask the same question with you guys too. If you want to apply that job right now, even just with three matches out of six, could you raise your hand? Right? Okay. So if you want to improve it and get it next time when you get more confidence, could you raise your hand? Right. Okay. That's great. Yeah, that's a question. Actually, the original purpose of this question, I read from an article. It said that according to the results, female candidates are more likely to say, let's wait and improve next time. And male candidates are more likely to say, yes, let's go for it. But yeah, I think with the result we got here and with the result I got online, it seems not exactly the truth because people might just feel, yeah, let's go for it. And they might have different reasons. But the real purpose I want to ask this question actually is to find what your mindset is about. Like there are two questions to follow up. One question is, um, how could you prove you have these three requirements? Like, how could you prove it? If a hiring manager posts these three requirements and say, we need to find a guy to do this job, and you say, yeah, I'm perfectly for the first three, I want to go for it. But how could you prove it? Could you start to think about that? Like, how can I prove I'm the match for this job?
Learning the terms of the profession, some terms. So
Learning in
that,
terms of the
yeah,
professionals?
yeah. So you nail it in the interview, but if they call you, like learning about the way that a UX speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Learning the terms. Yeah, learning the language what they are saying. Yeah, right. And maybe provide some. Yeah, later. Sorry.
Portfolio.
Portfolio. Yeah, that's great. Portfolio is something like the one of the four pillars I want to cover tonight, this evening. Yeah, and yeah, this is just a starting question that you can start to think how I can prove it. But the next question might be more important is why the hiring managers post these 6 requirements. Have you thought about that? Are there any hiring managers in this? Oh, wow, that's a lot. Reach out to each other later, guys. So the guys raising hands chase them, okay, after this event, right? So let's imagine you are a hiring manager, and in what scenario you will write these 6 requirements for a job. Normally, might be you got more work to do, your team got more work to do out of your capacity and resource, and then you need to get a new designer to get the job done, right? So this could be the reason they want to hire someone to get the job done. So it's not about hire someone. It's about to get the job done. So that's what they want. So they are not need a nail or need a hole. They need to put on a shelf on the wall for the pictures or for something. So that's their purpose. But the first thoughts came to their mind. Could we imagine that you are a hiring manager or you want to hire someone to get the job done? What will you do at first before writing some list? Yeah, let's just try to become a detective and try to think what they might think. They might start to think, who can get this job done? Who I know can get this job done. So they might start to think their reference and the people they already know or the people they already worked with. Like, I have the confidence that this guy can get the job done. And if not, they might listen to someone suggested, someone they worked with, maybe their peers or other colleagues. They say, I know someone, so he might be able to get things done. But then, if not, they might reach out to other peers or other people internally to post it. Like, yeah, we have this role open, and I want to get someone to get this job done. And at this stage, this hiring manager might start to write a list of what the requirements of this role, right? And after that, if that's still not successful, nobody matched the role, and they just, let's go to the HR and ask HR, like Amy, Linda, or any HR manager to post this on public platforms like LinkedIn, Seek, or other platforms. So before that, actually, there are some process under the surface that already worked, and I've read a number that 75% of the available jobs actually was not on was already taken internally. So there are only 25% left. So I'm asking this question to reveal that the mindset for us want to get a job is to start to understand our customer. Like, you are a product designer and you are the product, and our customer is the hiring manager, is the recruiter. So those guys, who they are, what they are thinking, what they are doing, and when they can have the ability to read your CV, when they can read your case study or portfolio, how long they're going to spend to read your portfolio. These are the questions we need to start to think, so that can help you to get a better chance to get a job. For example, like hiring managers. I don't know, maybe there are hiring managers in this office. They are busy jumping from meetings to meetings. They don't have time to read like 24 page of your CV with what you are good at high school or something. So you need to catch their eyes immediately, like less than 1 minute. How could you catch their attention? So these are the things we need to think. It's not about you, it's about them. So customer focus. right? So that's why we're doing UX design. So yeah, I spent half an hour to explain why we're doing this, because the 4 pillars I want to cover are all based on why. So because it's quite straightforward, these 4 things we need to have to become a UX designer: skill, knowledge, portfolio, community. And they all back to the previous question, like why we are going to do that. And if you can, yeah, just if you can answer that question, why? And yeah, it should be quite straightforward. And yeah, I'm getting this image like skill, knowledge, portfolio, and community. Uh, that's all the uh, things I need at that time, like 2019, um, when I walked out of the work and income office, and I just spent the next week uh, in my tiny home studio. Like work remotely was not a thing at that time. After 2020, everyone get used to it. But before that, like just stay at home and figure out how I can get these touch points from me to the hiring managers, to the recruiters, and what are the things I can improve to get more chance to show, to tell my story. And if I don't have a story, how can I do? I need to create my own story to share with them. So after some, ideation, and then these 4 things came to my mind. The first thing, portfolio, is your own story. So now it's become a common sense. Like everyone said, if you need to get a UX design job, you need to build a portfolio. You need to have some case studies to show what you are good at. And actually, that's the truth. So you do need that to start a conversation. So use it as a conversation starter. Because no matter what you are doing right now, you might find some connections with what you're doing and what you want to do. So find those directions. I will cover the details later. And skill, let's jump to skill and knowledge. This is quite easy to like straightforward. Skill is the what the things you need to get a job done. For example, if you're a marketer, probably you need to understand at least how to use Office, right? Or how to write a proper email. Um, this is the skill set for a marketer. And for UX designer, what you're gonna do? So you need to understand like maybe a basic understanding of how to create some assets for the team, like wireframes, personas, empathy map. So things like that, you need to able to create those deliverables. And knowledge is something can help you to understand those skills, to um, to know the reason behind it and have the proper language to talk. Like if people talking, yeah, we need to map out customer journey, and you're starting to, yeah, customer journey. I've heard of it, but yeah, it's something sounds familiar. It's kind of like a map, right? And it's so you need to understand that properly, and then you can know, oh, I need to create that for my employer. So this is the database for you to understand the job and get things done. And this the other 2 things I mentioned, that portfolio and community, actually are more important for us to help us to get a job in the industry. Because in this industry, as I mentioned, if we decipher the process of hiring manager and recruiters, how they got a candidate, they actually follow something like based on reference first, and then there's no qualified like certificate of UX designer. Actually, there are some in many ways, but I don't think that relevant to your job searching process, because this is just some course. UX design is always focused on fixing some complex problems. If you can get certificate, like if you can get certificate about learning UX design, that just shows you went over all the courses but it doesn't show that you have the ability to get the job done. People's mouth a better way to show who you are and what you are capable of. And what I mean, community is for that. Some people might say networking, but I prefer networking. Sounds like, you know, just I don't like that word. So yeah, community is like you give you ask for help, and then you can share back for help. Like what I'm doing right now is I want to share something back. So this is community, I think. And for designers, is Auckland has a lot of designers. Actually, a lot of communities are quite good that people supporting each other. Yeah. So at that time, I just said be hyper realistic. Like as mentioned, I had some money to support our family for 5 to 6 months, and that's my time frame. After that, if I didn't get a job, I just become a postman or massager, and yeah, just get something. And that's actually a discussion with me and my wife. Like, yeah, after 6 months, if cannot get a job, I'll do whatever I can. Yeah, not say postmen are not good. So they're great, but yeah, that's not my passion. Right. And staying focused. At that time, I just thought, yeah, with that observation about myself, I was distracted by different informations about like applying a subsidy, or some people is hiring a marketing guy. Would you like to apply it? Or yeah, a lot of different information. I just said, let's use this 4 months, 5 months to really focus without any distraction. So yeah, and then I need to do some research to understand what they are doing. Like you said, what's the terms they are talking. So and also just yeah, enjoying it. I think Let It Go is just my my daughter's favorite song. But also like just enjoying it, right? Just enjoying this process. After all, there's no nothing you can lose, and also being a minimalism. Like this is something I think I don't have much resource, so how can I utilize all the things I can use? Yep. So this is some principles for me to get things done. So let's get to, oh, by the way, any questions? So I don't want to save all the questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or any comments or anything you want to share. Right.
How long did it take you to find your job in those months?
So
How long did it take you to find
how long did I spend to find a job?
5, 6 months?
Yeah, exactly 5 months actually. So I got my I left my previous job at 2019 January and got the new contract. Yeah, 2019 May or June. Yeah, so exactly 5 months. So that's quite lucky. Yeah.
So how did it actually happen? Like community, or you applied some job posting? I heard you found a job.
How do I find the job? Actually, just increasing the touch points. But at the beginning, from my understanding, your question probably like, how can I reach out to the community, right?
No, I mean, you mentioned that you got a contract.
Yeah.
So was it advertised at a seat, or you personal contact?
Yeah, that's the first job was from Seek. No, from LinkedIn. Yeah, from LinkedIn. But it's like they posted this role on multiple platforms, and I saw it. And actually, that's not the most effort I spent on, because at that time I applied different roles and prepared for them. And then one of the closest role I applied is for an agency, and I spent a lot of time preparing for that, but it didn't go well, like at last. But the role I applied at Les Mills is quite good, and it's quite fast. So I was quite lucky at that time. But I think at the beginning it's just to check to those job searching platforms. Yeah, Seek and LinkedIn probably thinking, I think, probably the first option if you want to get a job, because there are already some connections you can check. Yeah. Any questions? If not, I can keep moving. All right. Yeah, as mentioned, knowledge are the principles, structures, and other critical things you need to know about the subject. Um, I think it's always start from the bottom. Sometimes it start from the top, but for a new subject, like for a new industry, UX, there are a lot of different terms, personas, empathy map, things like that. So you need to understand that and one by one, and then you can understand the structure, how they can help each other to get the business done. This is an example I put is for SEO. Actually, it's not directly to UX, but you can find the relationship between like website copies to quality content, things like that. You can start to build this map for you to become a UX designer. And UX design actually a big umbrella. It covers research, UX researcher, strategist, and UX and UI designers. So it's quite different steps, and you might need to build this knowledge database. But how? I think at this stage, it's all about how can you filter the noise away to get the right content, because there are already a lot of available resource. You can read books, you can read articles, or apply some online courses, listen to some podcasts to understand what people are talking, and word of mouth, reach out to individuals, other designers to understand what's the knowledge that you need have, and also online videos. So basically, I think you even don't need to spend any money to learn that at this age. That a lot of resources are just open and free. You just know how to get it. And for me, at that time, I find reading books is essential. If you want to become a UX designer, a few books. Lean UX from Jeff Goldfield. This is a great book to understand the agile plus design thinking plus Lean UX. It's like the combination of agile design thinking. So quite practical. So highly recommend. Lean Startup. Yeah, you can understand business better if you read this book. So as a UX designer, it's the combination of technology design and business. So it's quite helpful. And just other books, Sprint, interviewing users. Yeah, this is just some books I read during this process. It's not just I read in this 4 months because I have more things to do, but in general, it's quite helpful. I just use it as an example. And like magazines, also quite good. We have libraries, so just use it for free. And online courses, um, like we can use Nielsen Norman Group website for learning, or Interaction Design Foundation, IDF, which is a great online platform for learning UX, and it's quite cheap. Also, Medium articles, quite good. Online videos, they are quite good. So yeah, this is the question I want to ask, but I think after this you might have your answers. So yeah, knowledge and skill. So skill is something you can actually get things done, and this is the skill matrix. Actually, it's from my ex manager. He is a really good designer, and he helped me like to map out like how good I am at UX writing and UX strategy, like different things, UX audits, analytics, like quantitative research, qualitative research. So am I capable to do that uh, individually or not? I need some support. So this is just like a matrix to map out what you are good at, what's your specialties, even in this field, in this industrial UX design. So what's your specialties? And I think these are maybe feels a little overwhelming. Sorry.
Sorry, Derek. We were wondering what the different colors meant. Because you have the blue and then the green and then the red, and we were just trying to figure it out. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this the blue one is where I was at that time, mapped out, and the red circle is like the god of UX, like the already like I'm all good at this field, so this is impossible, right? And I think the dark blue one is from another junior designers. So another junior designer. So he is also doing. We are doing the same this evaluation. Like we map out what we are good at. Yeah, this is something I think I did it 2 years ago, but now I can get another version. But as for this speech, I think it's a good example to show that how you what you are good at, and then what the things you could improve, and what are the things you might not understand at this stage, and you can do that in the later stage, right? And you might notice that all this slide is not perfectly designed from a graphic design perspective. Yeah, but I think it can just deliver all the messages. Let's get moving to portfolio. So as mentioned, portfolios is something we use to start a conversation. It's just to catch the attention for the hiring manager, for your customer, like, yeah, this is the things you used to do. Because we human beings are really good at listening and understanding stories. We're not good at listening some abstract numbers or theories. Yeah. Even people pretend they understand, they're nodding in the meetings, but actually they don't. Yeah. They always understand or they always resonate about other people's story. So personas, oh no, portfolios or case studies actually is the story you want to share from a professional level. If you want to get a job, you can show to your potential employer what have you done in the past, right? And if there are any HR person in this in this room, you might heard of like behavior-based questions. It's based on your previous behavior to understand what you can do in the future. So personas are the things that you can use to no, portfolios, sorry. Portfolios are the things you can use to start that conversation. And before I moved to New Zealand, I was involved in some project. So I just used some time to map out those projects in an understandable way. We'll just show some deliverables or some assets I created in my previous project. And now you might ask this question like, I don't have any design examples or UX design examples. I don't involve in any UX design project. How can I do my portfolio? I think there are two directions to go. One is to connect the dots, which means that there will be always connection from your previous job to UX design. Because UX design, as mentioned, is a big umbrella. It covers many things. One of my students, my mentee, she's a high school teacher in US in Denver. So I asked her like, yeah, Well, can you find something that you can transfer from your current job to UX design? She said, yeah, no, because I didn't do much. I don't do much like graphic thing and not many design, but I talk to, yeah, most of my 8 hours just get those kids settled and yeah, just arrange them, manage them, and they can be good, be organized, and listen to you. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I think, yeah, stakeholder management. You are already doing that, right? So you are already able to collect different people sitting in the same room and listen. So that's actually a great skill, a really powerful skill. So you can definitely use it. Because later stage, when you become a designer, you are going to present something to people with different understandings about the same terms. So how could you manage them and move them to the next stage? So this is already your specialty. So it's just to find those dots and then try to narrate your skill in another from another perspective. So this is something you can definitely find. So her name is Matty, and there's another student. She's a waitress, and she's it's not about her case study, but about more about her strength. And in the early stage of her learning, it's really slow. It's just a lot of distractions. But after her first, we need to do two capstone projects for her portfolio. And the first capstone project took around 4 months to finish. But the second one just took 2 or 3 weeks. She was on fire, like really fast. And I just asked, how could you do that? How could you get 5 interviews in 2 days and also transcript all the things and get a really good report about that. And she said, yeah, I'm good. I'm used to work long hours, 6 to 8 hours doesn't matter because as a waitress I stand there work for 8 hours. That's a norm. So I'm used to do that. I think yeah, that's already your strength. Like the attention span is quite long. So this is something you can discover. And the other thing is you can start from scratch. You can start to build a personal project. That's exactly what I did at first when I tried to find a UX design job. It was 2018 when I still at my first job, but I want to move on. And I reached out to different people. And one of the designers in Auckland, his name is Lucas, quite a nice person. Maybe a lot of people already know him. He's a VP at design VP at Rome. And at that time, I had a lunch with him, and I asked the same question, like, how I don't have a portfolio, I don't have a project, so how can I do that? I'm still doing my marketing job. And he just said, yeah, create your own project. Because you have you have all the possibilities. You don't have any limitations. Because if you work in a real project, people might say, no, we don't need persona. That's cost too much, cost 2 weeks for your time. We don't do that. Or we don't have a customer interview process at this stage. But if it's your own project, you can do that without any limitation. And this is something I started to do. Like on the first step, I try to connect the dots. Like with my previous design project, like something I was the interface designer for this project, and for other project, it's more like as a product manager when I deal with the clients to understand what they are doing. But I try to write the story from a UX design perspective so I can get some case studies already there. And the other thing is that I started to, uh, from scratch, to build a personal project. And I did it properly to do some concepts, do some customer user interviews, take some affinity mapping, and user testing, get some concept ideation, concepts, user testing, create personas, and prototype it and test it again, and then high fidelity design and the final result. And then after that, I recorded a video to talk about it. So this is something I did. And the next time I got a job interview, and during that process, the the interviewer asked me, like, what's your design process? Before that, I don't have anything to say. Yeah, my design process is research design. And from that time, I started to say, can I show you something that what my design process is? And then I just open this file and start to talk about this story. And there will be more questions related to the process. They are more interested in understanding how I did it. So this is what I do. And by the way, it happens at the same time. Before, I think before user testing, I had no idea how to do that. Like, what is user testing? Or even before that, it's the user interview process. Like, I don't understand why we need to talk to someone. Because, as a designer, sometimes just post something, looks fancy, right? And that even without any description, you just look things really pretty, and yeah, and that's your Behance portfolio. Before that, my understanding is that, but I started to read those books and articles and find out why we're doing that, and then learn it a few days before, and then reach out to people like, hey, can I borrow you half an hour for a job for a user interview? Actually, just a coffee catch up. So, and people will say yes, okay. And most of the time, people will say yes because our Kiwi are really friendly. So, yeah, maybe not in the rush hours, but yeah, this is how I do it, like build a portfolio. And after that, you have stories to share. And the final part is the community. Like what I said, this is the customer we want to find. We want to understand what they're thinking, what they're doing, what's their needs, and what's their pain points, and where are they? How we can find them? So they are just hiding somewhere. Like in this room, there are some people, and I find that actually you are here, and if you can reach out to more people to build those weak relationship. What I mean weak relationship is compared to your family relationship, it's quite weak. And compared to your friends relationship, like people in this room, probably we don't have much time hang out together, right? Just maybe a few hours per month. Actually, that's a weak relationship, but it's reach out to many, like the information you got in this group is much more than your family members or your friends, because your friends and family, they're basically another version of you, and you have the similar connection. But in this room, people might know someone, and our goal is to reach out and to build those relationship, online professionals, local professionals, and recruiters, and friends and families, and then they can help you to get this. So to get them, all right, not this. So this is what I thought at that time, like how can I reach out? And I found community, this is something we are doing. But how can we do that? So at that time, I start to realize that we don't need to work in silo or just, because one of the most common mindset from graphic designer, especially for graphic designer, is that we want to make things perfect before we show it to other people. Because you have this proud, like, I cannot share it, it's still in the draft version. But I found that if you can share it in the middle of the process, if you can share your process, if you are comfortable to do that in front of other people, and you will have more interaction. Those interactions are the goals we need, are the outcomes we want, not to show something perfect and say, people say, wow, that's good. Actually, if you don't involve them in the middle of the process, you might have much less interaction later, reaction later. So my approach at that time is that I reach out to professionals. That's so easy to do. You can do some LinkedIn research, reach out individually, or like this meetup or other online events or offline events. You can join the events, talk to other people. Myself is a typical introvert. I know it's really hard to talk in an unfamiliar environment, a lot of people you don't know. But believe me, it's something that you can do and you'll feel much better after that. And also, like, if you want to transition your job, there will be ups and downs. And every time I found when I feel a little bit self-doubting or just not feel quite comfortable, quite confident, I just reach out one or two person to have a really um, not deep conversation, a proper conversation. And normally I will always get something. I will always get some insights from the people I'm talking to. And it always motivated after that. So this is what I did. And for example, like at that time, I think 2 years ago, I reached out to Michael, the guy behind us. So he's the product designer at Trade. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot your company, but doesn't matter. But yeah, he's a really good guy. And at the time, we reached out like, "Hey, I'm new. I want to know something." And uh, we had a lunch together, and he shared a lot of information, like how people actually do in this industry. For example, you can do the same thing. Or join online meetups, and then I just find, yeah. Also, you can post some thoughts, even just some understanding on social media, on LinkedIn or Twitter, and then you can learn what other people are thinking. And by listening to some podcast, you can also understand what they're thinking. And next time, if you join the same community, the language they are using, probably the things you are familiar with, and then you can jump in the conversation. So yeah, like designers, meetups, recruiters, informational interview, user interview, and yeah, LinkedIn. So this is all the things I was using at that time. Right. Any questions? No? Okay. And go further, it's just, oh, sorry.
We have a question.
It's for you. What's your company name?
I've got a company called Timely. No, back to the microphone.
Yeah. All right. So go further, like fast forward a few years, like right now. And also I'm doing podcasting as a hobby. So I just reach out to people. And one of the good thing about COVID is accelerated the way of we working and communicating. So that's actually it's much easier to reach out to some people not here in New Zealand and with some online conversation. So here is I reached out to Jeff Goldfield, the author of Lean UX. It's quite interesting. Like I read his book at first to help me make the decision to go that direction as a UX designer. And then his second book is quite good. And then I reached out to him like to 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 um, to appreciate like this is a great book, and then have some great conversation. And then yeah, he become the guest of my podcast, and we have a really good conversation about how to become a more confident designers. So so that's a really good talk. And this is Michelle. He's the design manager at Assassin. So it's also a great opportunity, and I've learned a lot. And this is Zach, the design system manager at Zero. So that's before I joined Zero, and I just find Zero has a really powerful design system, and I want to know more. I reach out, and with some back and forth discussion, yeah, he shared a lot of it, a lot of things about Zero. That's the first chapter to give me some like tips that I might go to Zero later. And this is uh, as a mentor, I'm helping those students to learn. So I think community is that what I mean. It's not just reach out, ask for things, and leave and never come back. It's not about that, right? It's about, yeah, at this stage, because as designers, we're in the different steps of our journey. Maybe I or someone just a few steps ahead of you, but that doesn't mean some people are much better or some like high level or something like that. You can reach out and ask for help with information, but later you can share back. Yeah, so this is something I think community is all about. Right, I think that's pretty much the basic of this talk. And also, you might notice that I mentioned something, for example, like uh, what is the persona of the of the hiring manager, and how to get an interview. What's the interview process? But we don't have time to cover that, and it could be later discussion. And I also had this have this online and offline workshop in this week, in this month, to discuss how to become a UX designer. So it's also free. So feel free to register on Tech Week website. So yeah, back to these four pillars. I think it's not about like when you let's use this image. Yeah, it's not about you come to this event and then you learn all the things and tomorrow you become a UX designer. You know all the things. It's not like that, right? So it's more about to get some useful information, and then you can able to start your own story. Like you can start to think why I'm here. So what could be my dream job? And what could I do next year if if I all in this field? What I need to get that job? What's the gap between where I'm right now and to that dream job I want to be? So what's the gap? And how you can fill this gap? What's your strategy? And this is more like just some suggestion for me, but I feel it's quite useful for me at least, and help me to reach out and help me to get the job I want to do. It helped me to stand here right now and to meet all those great people here. And yeah, I think now next step is to answer those questions by yourself and and then figure out what to do next. But in general, like what we mentioned, the trend of UX design or product design is going up, and there are more businesses online. Also, I think after COVID, with a lot of uncertainties, the skill you build as a UX designer is very valuable for any job, right? Because as UX people, you are confident to deal with uncertainties. Because on the discovery stage, they're just a mess, right? Everything is not clear. And if you're an accountant, maybe you feel, oh, that's so scary. Or sorry if there are any accountant here, but yeah, as a UX designer, you should feel, yeah, that's the norm. At the beginning of a project, it's just chaos, or it's just a lot of uncertainties. So our job is to use this approach, use all the process to find out the right direction and to go. And then if you believe a design process, yeah, you'll finally get there. That's me. Any questions or anything people want to ask? By the way, if you want to reach out This is my email, and you can find me on YouTube and LinkedIn. And also, my portfolio is so outdated. One of my to-do lists on my backlog is to rebuild my portfolio website from my last year's New Year resolution, which is which is carried on from the previous year. So yeah, but that's all me. Thank you.
Awesome. Can you all hear me? Sorry? Yes. Cool. All right, how's everyone doing?
Excellent.
Okay, so we can do louder. How's everyone doing? Good. Awesome. So before we close out the event, just one more time, I'd like to say a big thank you to Bear for speaking, Trade Me for sponsoring all the awesome food, the drinks, GridAKL for the venue, and our awesome UX Auckland team.
We've got some questions online, by the way.
Cool. I don't know what to do now. Cool. What are the questions?
I don't know if they can hear me, but there's a microphone.
But it's not.
Turn it on. Press the
Unmute.
There we go. Got it.
All right, so we have one question online from 111 Mecca. So on the skills chart, how does it change with situation or stresses? E.g., does creativity strike better in different environments and mindsets?
So I didn't get this question. It's more like around what's the differences in different scenarios?
Yeah, how does the, on the skills chart that you, I think, showed earlier, how does it change with situation or stresses? Does the creativity strike better in different environments and mindsets?
I think it always depends on different projects or different environment you're working on. And it would be good to check the business goal at first, or to check the goal for the team, like what the team want to achieve, and then find out what could be the priority. And it's not about just by you, and you need to discuss with your team and clarify it at first. For example, like if at this stage the team want to improve the customer experience, and they might jump to a solution that, yeah, you can redo the interface of the website, and you feel, how could we know that that's the right design for the customer? And they might say, well, we thought it is because we are the expert in this field. And you start to wonder, do we have any customers' insight or input, or customers' data reflect those designs? And they say no. Then the problem could be, let's find it out first. And then research become the priority for your skill set for that team. So it depends. And yeah, and also like if you, as a permanent role, you might have longer time to digest and learn by yourself or with the team. If you're as a contractor or freelancer, you might need to spend less time, like try to do that as soon as possible to talk to tackle like what are the priorities and what are the values that you can provide to the team immediately. So it would be good to check that, like from your career perspective, like what's the skill matrix, what are the paths you want to improve, like it's the weakness for you. But in general, if you're going to work with a team, check the team's direction, and then try to align your skill set to those to the direction. Yeah. Hope that makes sense.
Any more questions, or is that? Cool. Awesome. So yeah, once more, just before we close out the event, just want to say a big thank you again to Bear, Trade Me. There's some trade workers around here, I can see that, who helped sponsor the food and the drinks for tonight. GridAKL for the location, and to the UX Auckland team who are all at the back, who have put in a lot of effort to make this event happen. So can we give them one last big round of applause, please? Cool. Awesome. So just to wrap up, so who here on their shirt has a green name tag? Put your hands up. Up high. Cool. So if you all look around, so these are the people who are in the industry. And for anyone who's looking to find advice, learn more about portfolios, community, and so on, please reach out to these awesome people. They're all friendly. Well, I believe they're all friendly. And they all will be able to give some advice and tips and suggestions into the UX industry. And on top of that, just to end it out, is anyone hiring at the moment? Put your hands up high.
Hey guys. Alright, so I used to work with Bear actually. So I'm a product owner at Les Mills. Not the gym, so we work for Les Mills International. We've got a product designer role on the market at the moment. So if you are keen, so it's more on the, I guess, UI side, I think, from my understanding, but there's a little bit of UX. So the role itself is product designer. So if you wanna change the digital fitness industry, then get in touch or get Bear to, hook you up with my contact details, and yeah, I can connect you guys with the design lead. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Steph. We are hiring at PushPay for a senior UX/product designer. So let me know. Anyone else that's hiring?
Hi guys, so I'm from On It. So we are hiring for a senior product designer at the moment, and we are on a kind of a 2 to 3x scaling mode in here, and we have branches in US, Ukraine, and India as well.
Is there anybody else?
Hi everyone, my name is Walt. I work for a inventory systems company called Sin7. We'll be looking for between 1 to 3 junior to intermediate designers pretty soon. And yeah, when I joined 6 months ago, we were 120 people. Now we are 300. So pretty fast rocket ship. Let's have a chat.
That's a lot of roles. Go talk to that guy at the end of this. Cool. And yeah, I'm Michael, and well, I'm the good guy Bear mentioned who was standing at the back originally. So the company I work at, Timely, is also hiring a product designer. We're hiring for a design contractor to work in the mobile team for 6 months. So if that sounds of interest, let me know as well. And yeah, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of drinks at the back, so stay around, catch up with people who are in the industry, hiring and so on, and make connections like Bear said. And yeah, thank you all very much for coming. We really appreciate everything you've done for us. Seriously, grab some sushi, it's at the back. Good job. You didn't tell me you were going to mention me.
Yeah, that's a surprise.